John Cherry's my idol in terms of cardigans and general colourful, soft items of clothing. How's everybody doing? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's Sunday morning here. I filmed a couple of videos last night that you probably have already seen by now. And if you haven't, check them out. I think they're quite amusing. Anyway, it's Sunday morning. It's bucketing down outside. It's very cold, but it's toasty inside. I've got my coffee. And if you haven't guessed already, I'm going to be showing some blue notes I picked up recently. Now, what's in the background is a record I've had for a long time, and it's been a favourite blue note of mine, one that I think is very underrated. It's Dexter Gordon, One Flight Up, absolutely beautiful. This is a Liberty pressing, which I'm absolutely happy with. I got it quite cheap a few years ago. Gorgeous. I'm a really big fan of Donald Byrd and Dexter Gordon, but I don't have enough by them. Or for whatever reason I haven't found them, or you know, blah 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 blah. Anyway, that's what's on in the background. I realised at the beginning there it was quite crackly. It reminded me that I need to give this a wash in the ultrasonic cleaner, which I still need to make a video on, the part 2 on it. So, blue note. So, I've had this weird streak going back since about January this year of picking up blue notes, you know, being either Japanese presses or Liberty presses or early presses, blah blah blah, in New Zealand, which is very strange. You don't see them very often, but I feel like it's one of those... does it ever happen to you guys where you seem to find stuff you never thought you'd find in a row? I don't know, and I haven't been massively actively seeking these out. Some of them I have on eBay, where I've just put in low offers and I've got them, and other ones I've just found in stores. It's been very strange, so I've sort of been keeping these together, and I've thought, oh, maybe I'll just make a blue note video when I get some time. So originally I was just going to make a Japanese presses blue note video, but then I got a couple more and I thought, alright, let's just do a general blue note. So I do have about 10 or 12, maybe 10 other blue notes in around here behind me in storage, but yeah, these are ones I've bought in the last 8 months. Most recently this one here, which I'm over the moon to get a early copy of. I say early, it's not the reissue from Heavenly Sweetness, but it's a Liberty blue note. It's got the white B, so slightly later. It's an absolutely, you know, immaculate condition, which is really nice because there's a bit of space in this record. It's not quite as spacey as his other one. Should I grab it? M is a bit far away. LM. I could get it. The other one called Some Other Stuff. I have the Heavenly Sweetness reissue of that. This is different to what I was a lot more punchier and less focused on space and experimentation, but just like, aside from the cover, the lineup on here is really great. I'm not going to read it out because you can see it. It's quite easy to, with Blue Note, read out a lineup, and it gets you a feel of who is on it, or a feel of what it may sound like. But that actually isn't always true, because, you know, some of them are a lot earlier in their careers where their sound hasn't fully developed yet, so they don't maybe have their iconic style yet. But on this one, you know, Lee Morgan sounds like Lee Morgan straight away. Jackie McLean sounds like Jackie McLean straight away. Bobby Hutcherson on vibes as always. Gratian Munko is adding that really like dissonant sparse thing going on. Tony Williams on the drums. This is a all-star Blue Note lineup for me. Has some of my favorite players on here, so yeah, I was really happy to get this. You know, original prices are sort of like $300, $400, and then they drop down there. This is like a third or fourth pressing, I think, which I scored for a meager $30. That made my month. That's that one. Now, this is one that I found way back in when I was in Melbourne in January in a record store. Horace Parlan, Happy Frame of Mind. It's one you don't see very often. This is a King Records, a King Japanese pressing. So for anyone that is into Japanese pressings or audiophiles that are into it, King always, for me, the best sounding Japanese presses, and they do a lot of Blue Note records, but I think basically they are usually from around about 75 to 85, 1985. So they're later reissues, but they sound absolutely fantastic. This is wonderful. I don't have any Horace Parlan before this, and I wasn't too familiar with Horace Parlan. I don't know really what his sound was. Even these sort of players I don't normally gravitate to. Johnny Coles, Booker Irvin, Grant Green, Horace Parlan, Butch Warren, Billy Higgins. Like I don't, you know, gravitate to these players normally speaking. But I really enjoy this, way more than I thought I would. Check out the track Home is Africa. It's got a really amazing bass line by Butch Warren, who, yeah, is someone that I've never really paid attention to before, but I really, really enjoy it. Even Grant Green, I'm not massively into guitar jazz, but look at this. It's got a really cool Blue Note Club insert. Look at that. Members Club. All in Japanese. How cool is that? I hope this is focusing. I could put this on. What do you reckon? You guys want to hear this? Some great tracks on here is Dexter, which is a Johnny Coles composition, and Kucheza Blues is really great. But what I will do is I'll play the first track written by Ronnie Boykins. Okay, interesting. Called Home is Africa, which has a killer bass line. I'll chuck that on now. How cool is this? It's like a spiritual jazz bass line. This came out in, what was it, early 60s? Maybe, yeah. It's cool. Comes with this really cool booklet as well, mainly in Japanese. Some classic ones on here. I don't know, I just really like that bass line. I think it's really cool. Horace Parlan, Happy Frame of Mind. The thing with Blue Note is, you know, a lot of it is in the same wheelhouse, but it's really good, and I love the artwork and aesthetic. It's hard to know where to draw a line, you know. Do you even need to draw a line? I don't know. Okay, this was a long time wantlist item for me. I got this on an eBay auction, and I got it really cheap, mainly because of, as you can see here, the tape along the top and the bottom. I thought about maybe taking the tape off somehow and putting some clear tape on myself, but it's a bit tatty. I don't know if it's worth it. Anyway, Don Cherry, always with the sweater game. Don Cherry's my idol in terms of cardigans and general colourful, soft items of clothing. This is Symphony for Improvisers. Again, an all-star lineup. It's that classic focus around those guys that played with Ornette Coleman, like Ed Blackwell, Henry Grimes, Don Cherry, Gatto Barbieri. Carl Berger I'm not familiar with, and Jenny Clark on bass I've never heard of before. I think there's dual bass going on in this quite a bit. This is, of course, I forgot to mention, Farrah Sanders is on here, which makes it really interesting. This one just absolutely hits it out the gate. I don't know what to say about this. It's fantastic. I think there's 3 on Blue Note by Don Cherry. I think it's Complete Communion, this one, and Where is Brooklyn? And I'm after Complete Communion at some point. I'm not in a massive rush to get it, but yeah, this is just super punchy, super robust. Yeah, everyone's on it. absolutely great. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest, out of this. I hadn't heard it properly before, but I'm pretty sure this is an original Blue Note pressing. I don't know. I'm not really an expert. I think it is. I'm not really an expert on how the Blue Note label works and all that sort of thing. It is a Liberty press, so I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, great stuff. Great stuff. All right, the next one, this record probably completely passed me by, and I know that I'd seen it a few years ago in the stores, and I just passed it up. I watched the I Called Him Morgan documentary, would have been earlier this year, and I'd always really liked the Signwider and the Rump Roller, two Blue Note records that I used to play a lot. I haven't played them in a long time, but I always liked them, and I never really pushed further with Lee Morgan, and that documentary just really opened my eyes to the way he plays, and I was like, oh my god, you know, Lee Morgan, wow, what a player. So, you know, as you do, you jump on Discogs, look up some prices, and you sort of go, oh shit, you know, these have obviously jumped up a lot. I would love to get my hands on a copy of Search for the New Land, but the other one that came out of me wanting to get off the back of that documentary was Live at the Lighthouse. This is one that I know I'd seen before and skipped over it. Yeah, a wonderful record. This is a 2 LP set. It's later period Lee Morgan. I think at this point he's sort of come off the drugs, and he was in a nice positive mindset, clean eating, really back into it, enjoying his music. This is a killer record. Benny Maupin is on here, Harold Mabin, Jamie Merritt, Mickey Roker, who I don't know. This could be an all-time Blue Note for me. Absolutely fire record. They have a really great way of starting off slow and building and building and building and just blowing out. A lot of the tracks are based around that, but check out the track The Beehive, if that doesn't blow you away. Just absolutely super hard, powerful, fiery. It's like that. It's not free jazz, but it's just so ferocious the way they play. Should I chuck some on in the background? Maybe not. This has got a nice vibe to it. I feel like if I put this on, it will probably drown out what I'm saying. But yeah, man, this is a wonderful record. Not cheap. I did get this again on an auction. What a cool outfit too. So I picked up that. I haven't 100% digested it yet. I think it's a 2 LP thing. And it's 4 tracks. Is that right? Yeah, 4 tracks, 1 over each side. I think that's right. Yeah, it is. So each track is a side, and being a live thing, it's really sprawling and yeah, very. I don't know how to. Yeah, they just do a really good job at slowly building, or building and rising and falling again. The other Lee Morgan I picked up locally here. I couldn't believe it was here. This is a King Records pressing. Again, I found this in a local store, which is unheard of here, believe it or not. Lee Morgan, the Gigolo. Wow. The track on this one is called Speedball, which is just absolutely frenetic playing. Billy Higgins, Bob Cranshaw, Wayne Shorter is on here. I didn't realise that. There you go. Look at that for a cover as well. It's hard to talk about Blue Note records, but yeah, this is absolutely killer. Charisma is the other one that I would quite like to get as well. So I've sort of been back on a Lee Morgan kick and listening to a lot online, and you know, it sounds like a cop-out to say it, but you know, he has that classic record, the Sidewinder, and to me, that title absolutely describes how he plays. Absolutely sidewinding, like always on the same path, but he's moving left and right, and up and down, and he has this way of navigating that, you know, he doesn't completely go off, but he's always moving. His sound is always, you know, the tones he's playing. Like he doesn't do like shorter, longer almost. He almost does just, I'm not a musician, but he does sidewind. That's how I'd describe his style of playing. Okay, moving on. We're getting into some more, I would say, harder to describe ones here. There's some. This one is an interesting one. I bought this off a friend who's selling some stuff to move overseas, and of course, I was super interested to see what this would be like. This is very early Clifford Jordan and very early John Gilmore. Like I was very surprised to see. I didn't realize this record existed, but John Gilmore of Sun Ra on a Blue Note record with Clifford Jordan. Now, if this had been Clifford Jordan and John Gilmore sort of 10, 15 years later, you know, this would be a super expensive avant-garde spiritual jazz record. But these guys are very young at this point. They're still developing their sound. Horace Silver and Art Blakey. It's still a great record. Like, I'm not saying it's not, but it's one of those things where you have to be aware of years of release with a lot of these jazz records, depending on the sound. I knew what I was in for when I heard this. I'm not disappointed. Like, it's kind of weird because this is what's called like a blowing session, which I didn't realize was a thing, but it's when two saxophone players purposely play off each other. There's a few classic records that are called blowing sessions, and I've completely forgotten them all. I read about this. Anyway, so you've got Clifford Jordan and John Gilmore sort of like battling off throughout the whole thing. Clifford Jordan has a more laid-back, rounded sound. John Gilmore, like they're both playing tenor sax, but John Gilmore has more of a strange edge, a slightly sharper edge to it. So that's going off really well. Horace Silver is sort of finning between the spaces, but for me, the way Art Blakey drums on this is really wonderful. Doesn't get credit for it. He's just pummeling away in the background. This is really great. I didn't know anything about this record. Well, obviously I didn't know it existed, but I knew the players. So Blowing In From Chicago. This is a later French pressing. Originally came out in '57. I think this may be like a '70s or something like that. 70s French pressing. I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look properly. Cliff Jordan and John Gilmore, Blowing In From Chicago. Another one I picked up from the same seller. This one, when I first got it home, I was like, oh, this is a bit slow. It's like, it's just bop bordering on hard bop. I was like, I don't know about this. I really like Dizzy Reese. For me, I think he's a really fantastic trumpet player. And I was like, oh, maybe I won't keep this. Maybe it's not really an essential thing, but I kept going back to it and I really got into it. The track Starbright, which is really slow, is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know, it's really grown on me. It's definitely a bop bordering a hard bop. This has a really, it is a beautiful record. It's easy to go, for me, I get attracted to fiery playing and aggression and what seems like, you know, what's named as obvious passion or obvious fire or obvious movement of music. But this is just really cool. It's very laid back. I actually really like this now. I've been playing it a lot over this week. Deacon Joe is another really great track, as well as Sejoya. Again, Art Taylor is a drummer I'm not massively familiar with. But yeah, Flight to Jordan. He later does Flight to Denmark on Steeplechase Records, which is quite a nice record too. Yeah, there you go. This is again the same thing. It's a 1960 release. This is an '84 reissue, French reissue. There we go. Yeah, I won't put the label. Okay, this one I found for a measly $7 just the other week. Cool lineup on this. Kenny Dorham, Joe Henderson, Tony Flanagan, Richard Davis and Albert Heath. I was super interested to hear what this sounded like. As you guys can probably tell, based on the name, Trompeta, Toccata, and you know, Mamacita, stuff like that. This has a I'd say Latin influence, but not. It's kind of Latin in the way it's played, or it has like a really cool. I'd say it's a Latin groove or something. I don't know how to describe it. there's a few Blue Note records came out around this time that had that sort of influence, or a bit more funky, or a bit more of a groove-based thing going on. I might put a bit of this on since I'm inadequately describing it. One moment. I don't know if it is Latin. It's just more groove-based or something, or it's a bit cool. I don't know how to describe it. That's really sort of like Latin or South American or something. That bit there. Anyway. The last three are, for me, just purely on artwork alone, are yeah, absolutely iconic. Wayne Shorter, Night Dreamer. I haven't heard this in a long time, and I can't remember massively what this sounds like. I'm sorry, this is terrible. What I can tell you is you've got half of Jesus Christ, what was I going to say? Half of John Coltrane Quartet in here with Tyner on piano and Elvin Jones on drums, and Reggie Workman is on here. Okay, cool. And then Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter, fantastic. I was intrigued by this one purely on the lineup initially. I can't remember what this sounds like. It was terrible. I'm turning into one of those people that are desperate to show their records off rather than talk about how they find the music. I do remember the track Black Nile being quite cool. If anything, I can say I did see this live. I saw a whole bunch of Wellington musicians cover this album in its entirety, and I really enjoyed it. Hard bop, lots going on. I'm sorry, this is terrible. I'll tell you that they do have really great track titles. Charcoal Blues. Actually, I do remember Charcoal Blues being quite cool. Armageddon, Black Nile. Fucking hell, I feel like I've butchered this one completely. This is I'll just talk about the pressing, because if you can't talk about the music, you can always talk about the thing you're holding in your hand. Another one of these really cool inserts. I'm sorry. Let's just end this one. Another Kenny Dorham. Unimass, One More Time. This is killer. I love this. This is another one that sort of delves into Latin rhythms or South American rhythms and parts. Check out the track Sao Paulo. It's fantastic. Again, this is has Herbie Hancock, Joe Henderson, Tony Williams. Again, is this a King pressing? It's definitely a Japanese pressing. Yeah, iconic artwork there by is it Francis Wolff? Sorry, Reed Miles. I always get them mixed up. Reed Miles is the design, the layout, and Francis Wolff does the photography. Yeah, killer. I love that typography there, how it just sits on the hand in the bright pink. It's genius. Okay, last one. Another one with Reggie Workman on bass, got a bit of a theme going on here. He played on a shitload of stuff. Jesus Christ, I just had a weird brain memory thing there where I was thinking about Jimmy Garrison. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, this is great. What was Jimmy Garrison doing before the Coltrane Quartet thing? Like, you don't really see him on any Blue Note records, or as far as I know, I haven't heard anything with Jimmy Garrison on. Maybe he was too young. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't think I have anything or I've seen anything on, on Blue Note. A lot of these guys all played on Blue Note at some point or early careers, but I don't remember seeing anything with Jimmy Garrison on Blue Note. Just a thought. I don't know. Anyway, Freddie Hubbard. Again, I didn't have anything by Freddie Hubbard on vinyl before picking up this. I really want to get Red Clay, which is a classic record on a CTI, which is a later record. This is Hubtones. What's the track on here that's really good? Lament for Booker, which I guess is a tribute to Booker Irvin, at a guess. And the track itself, Hubtones, is really killer. Again, this is sort of groovy, punchy. It's kind of hard bop-ish. It's hard. I really struggle with describing Blue Note records. They've all got a very They've got a Blue Note sound to them. They sound wonderful, and they're all really great. Generally speaking, I mean, I think it gets a bit questionable. Definitely, it's not even. It's no question. Some of them in their late 80s are pretty terrible, but apart from that, you can't really go wrong. But yeah, there you go. That's some Blue Notes. Hopefully the Blue Note run continues, and I spy a few more. Fingers crossed. Alright guys, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, I hope you enjoyed this, let me know your thoughts. I don't know. See you guys, bye.